Q means every. Now, I don't remember what PC is. PC is after meals. TID is 3 times a day. Y'all know what the C with the line above it is? Y'all remember that one?
It's with.
It's with. And PO is what?
Orally.
Orally or by mouth. What's Q4H?
Every 4 hours.
I'm running off the machine. All right, what's the A with the line above it?
Before.
Before. And then NPO is a real common one. Nothing by mouth. And then GTT. Oh, that was on there. GTT is drop. Lights is electrolytes. PRN is as needed. What about STAT?
Immediately.
Immediately. And BID? Twice or 2 times a day. And then MIN is minute. IV is intravenous. What about QH?
Every hour.
Every hour. What about CAP?
Capsule.
Mm-hmm. And I can't spell capsule. CAPSULE. What about IM?
Intramuscular.
Intramuscular. ID is intradermal. And PR, do y'all remember what that one is? Rectum. Or rectally. I saw one today that had rectally on it. Tab, of course, is tablet. What about QID? 4 times a day. I don't see the QS, and I should know what that is. Q means, oh, QS, quantity sufficient. What about AQ? Water. GT is gastronomic. I can't say it. GASTROS. TOMY. It's a tube that goes into your stomach, I think. NG is nasogastric. It goes in through your nose, into your stomach. What about nocturnal?
No.
Night. or not. Yeah, it's not. IV PV. It's an IV piggyback. Okay. Some of these you will see on the test and some of these you won't. And that's the same ones we did. The 7 parts of a drug order or of a medication order, you'll have to know these. That's patient's name, or name of the patient, the dose. Oh, wait, I missed something. Name of the patient, the medication name, the dose, the route, the frequency, six is the date and time. Oops, time, not time. Time written. And 7 is the signature and licensure. Of the person writing the order. So you'll have to know those. You got those down? Those are in the first part of chapter 7. And then for the drug label, I'm going to write crossways. I probably should have. There we go. All right, so this is chapter 8, the medication labels. Okay, so with the medication labels, you have a brand name on some labels. And the brand name has what's called a registered symbol. It has the R. It's the name that is given to the drug or given for a drug by the manufacturer. Okay, like Tylenol. Tylenol is a registered trade name or a registered brand name. It was given to the drug by the. I don't have any Tylenol to look at right now to see what manufacturer it was. It may or may not contain, your drug label may or may not contain a brand name. But it will have a generic name. And the generic name is usually the chemical name. And this is always on the drug label. Okay, so it will always have a generic name where it may not have a brand name. And I shouldn't use Tylenol, I should use Motrin, because at least I can say the generic name for Motrin. Motrin has the brand name of Motrin, but it has the generic name of ibuprofen. And then every drug label will have the form that the medication comes in, whether it be tablets, liquid, um, a solution, which is still a liquid, but it's a solution. It may be a powder that you have to reconstitute into a liquid, or it could be a powder that you combine with food or beverages before you administer it. They will all have the dosage strength. And the dosage strength may be, well, it's always the amount of medication medication or drug in a specific unit of measure. So it could be something like Tylenol comes in 325 milligrams. So, and they're generally tablets or capsules. So it could be 325 milligrams, you know, in the tablet. Or a milliliter of some solution could contain 250 milligrams of the medication. So sometimes it's written as a rate, or sometimes it's just written as a number with a unit of measure. Like we have 600 milligrams in a tablet. So if you're, you know, tablet forms, we have 600 milligrams. So the 600 milligrams is our dosage strength. I might have 4 milligrams in 1 milliliter. This whole thing would be my dosage strength. Because for every milliliter, I'm going to have 4 milligrams. I may have 5 milliliters in that vial, but each milliliter is going to have 4 milligrams. You're going to have the supply dosage. The supply dosage is always the dosage strength per the dosage form. Okay, so the 600 milligrams in a tablet would be written as 600 milligrams per tablet. And the 4 milligrams in 1 milliliter is already written as a supply dosage, so it would just be 4 milligrams per milliliter. Okay, so sometimes your dosage strength and your supply dosage is the same, the way it's written. You're always going to have the total volume. This would be the number of tablets or capsules. Or milliliters. If it's a liquid, it'll be in milliliters. If it's, you know, solid, it'll be tablets or capsules. But it's the number of whatever it is. If it's liquid, it's going to be a number of milliliters. If it's solid, it's the whatever the form it's in. And it's always going to be written on the drug label somewhere. And the drug label will always give you the route. So how you're going to administer it, it'll always tell you how. So your route, you know, may say IM or IV. If it says it's tablet form, or if it says it's a tablet, then your route's going to be orally or by mouth. You know, if it's a solution or an oral solution, then it's going to be orally. You know, with injections, we're going to be specific as to IM or IV. And these are the ones that we have to know to be able to calculate for our medication orders. Now, there's other things that are on a medication label or a drug label that it's helpful to know. And we'll get to this one a little on, but the directions for mixing or reconstituting. If it's a powder, then you have to add diluent to it, or add, what's a diluent? But you'll have to add some kind of liquid. So you'll have your directions for reconstituting. So this is where we're going to add so many milliliters of liquid. And it'll tell you what kind of liquid. Now, sometimes you're going to just dilute a liquid because you've got a high concentrated of liquid, and you're going to dilute it so you can give it. And again, it'll tell you the number of milliliters to add. And that tells you the number of milliliters of diluent to add. Should use diluent up here too. So sometimes it's in a powder, sometimes it's in a strong solution. You have to dilute it. And then we have label alerts. Every label has a label alert, or it may or may not have a label alert. I shouldn't say it does. Label alerts would be like keep refrigerated. After, you know, or just keep refrigerated. Store in dry place. Protect from light is another one. And then sometimes the pharmacist may add a label. I was trying to think of what one might be the pharmacist is going to add. Do not drive or do not operate heavy equipment when taking this medication. Take with food is another one. Or sometimes you may have take on empty stomach. So, you know, you're going to have different kinds of label alerts. Some of them come on the actual label. Some of them the pharmacy will add to it before. Let's see. The name of the manufacturer will be on the label. This would be like Eli Lilly. I've got a cousin that works for Eli Lilly in Indianapolis. She works in the veterinary part. Another one we hear a lot of is Pfizer Labs. But they will always be on there, as well as it's going to be the company, the manufacturer, and the town that they're in. I don't know what town some of these are in. Every label that you have will have an expiration date. Unless they're one of the labels I put in, like some of the labels I'm going to show you in a minute won't have a label, won't have an expiration date because they're not actual medication labels. They are, what do they call them again? Sample medication labels. So they have everything but the expiration date and the lot number. The lot number is a series of numbers that are placed on a batch of medicine that's made at one time, because the medicines are made, or the medications are made in a big vat. And all the different things, components of it goes into this big vat, and they mix it all together. And then they either, if it's in liquid form, they fill vials with it or bottles with it. If it's a powder, you know, they'll fill the vials or the bottles or whatever. And then they'll also make tablets, you know, they'll form the tablets or capsules with them. But one vat can make thousands of doses of medication. And so that's how they do this. So one lot can be maybe 1,000 bottles of something or 100 bottles of something. And so if there's a recall, like here a while back, I don't remember if it was tablets or liquid. I want to think it was tablets. There was pieces of glass found in the tablet, and they are found in a couple of tablets and a thing of medication. And so they recalled the whole lot number, because if it's in one tablet, then it could be in several. So, you know, a piece of glass was broken somewhere along the way. But the lot number is used to recall specific batches of medication. And then we have the National Drug Code, the NDC. And this is a unique group of numbers for each medication. Like each one of us has a unique Social Security number, or a unique driver's license number, or a unique student ID number. Medication labels have their own unique identification number, and it's called the National Drug Code. And it appears, it's also the barcode. So the barcode on the medication is the same as the NCD code or NDC code. On some of our labels, you're going to see the USP, or you might see the N. Trying to remember what the other one was. Yeah, NF. The USP is United States Pharmacopoeia. And the NF stands for the National Formulary. These are national drug lists. And they're of approved medications for the U.S. Because sometimes we'll have drugs that come from other countries that are approved, but they're not approved for use in the U.S. There's a lot of things on these drug labels that we need to know about that won't always see for medications. We have single dose and multi-dose vials. I spelled multiple wrong. The single dose does not have the preservative in it, or does not have preservatives. And a multi-dose has the preservatives. It has a anti-microbial in it that keeps the microbes out. A single dose, you can only give one dose from it. Kind of makes sense with a single dose. A multiple dose, you can give multiple doses. The single dose, you have to discard the remaining medication. And of course, the multiple dose, you can't. The multiple dose, though, you only want to give it to one patient. Give from the same. I'm wording this wrong, weird, but give from the vial to only one patient. If y'all want to word that differently, that's fine, but every patient gets their own vial. Am I going too fast for y'all?
No.
Okay. Oh. All right, next we have our combination drugs. The combination drugs have more than one drug involved. They're usually, it's usually two different medications that have more than one medication. I should say active medication. Percocet is the one that I think of. This is one that I use, but it has oxycodone, and Tylenol, but they give the generic. I cannot say the acetaminophen. And what it does, it gives you two different dosage strengths. It gives you like 5 milligrams per 325 milligrams. And that's 5 milligrams of oxycodone and 325 milligrams of the Tylenol. And these are, and Percocet's generally tablets. So that's per tablet. And the doctor will order, this will be ordered by the number of tablets to be given. So the doctor may write an order Percocet 5 milligram per 325 milligram. He always, the order's written by the dosage strength, and gives 6 I don't want to say 6, that sounds like an awful lot. Give 2 tablets every 6 hours as needed, PRN. Okay, so that's, I don't know exactly how they'd write the give 2 tablets. I haven't seen that in a while. But it would be written, I know it has the brand name or the name, the strengths, and then give the 2 tablets. Or how many ever tablets you need. And then we have the controlled substances. Our controlled substances generally are narcotics, I don't know if I got that from another book or. It has hallucinogens. Hang on. It's use. I just really spelled that one wrong. So my hallucinogens is HALLUCINOGENS. I don't know why they would prescribe hallucinogens, but. And stimulants, depressants, anabolic, steroids, and of course the chemicals used in the production of illegal substances. The controlled substance is a capital C with Roman numerals inside, okay? And there's 5 classes, or 5 schedules. I call them classes, they're calling them schedules. But a class 1 or a schedule 1, I can't spell it all today. A schedule 1 has a high potential for abuse, and it's unsafe. A schedule 2 is, again, the high potential for abuse, and there's a severe dependent risk. These are in your textbooks. This list, no, this list is not in this textbook. A schedule 3, it's on those notes that I posted on Canvas though, has a less potential for abuse, but it still has a severe dependent risk. No, take that back, not severe, moderate. And a schedule 4 has a low abuse potential. and a limited dependence. And Schedule 5 has a lower abuse potential and a limited dependence. Okay. So that's all the parts of a drug label. Now we're going to look at some drug labels. I'll post this sheet sometime today. Okay, so we're going to see if we can identify all of these. So I have Callan, SR. SR stands for sustained release. It's like the extended release. Notice the Callan has the little R for registered. So Callan is my brand name. Now, I'm not going to put the SR with it because the SR is just the type. I don't know, maybe it is. Yeah, let's go ahead and put the SR. Change my mind. All right, my generic name, if there is a brand name, the generic name would generally be in parentheses. And I cannot say it, so I'm just going to spell it VERAPAMIL. Verapamil, hydrochloride. Hydrochloride, okay. In our form, if you look up here, it says 500 caplets. So caplets is my form. And then my dosage strength is the 240 milligrams. Then my supply dosage is my dosage strength in my form. So it'd be 240 milligrams per caplet. And I'm just going to write cap for abbreviation. My total volume, there's 500 caplets, so my total volume is going to be 500. And then the route. If it's caplets, what's my route going to be? Did y'all say oral?
Mm-hmm.
Or by mouth? Okay. And these are the things that we concentrate on for our dosage or our calculations. Let's look at Zithromax. So our brand name for Zithromax, do we have a brand name, or is Zithromax our generic name?
It's the brand name.
It's a brand name because it's got that little R right there. And then our generic name is a zithromycin, but it's not the 4 injection, okay? It's just the chemical. And then what's the form? Can you tell? There's a hint. It says for IV infusion only. If it's going to go into the IV, what's it going to be? Liquid? And then again, my dosage strength is a 600, that's 500 milligrams. And that's for the vial. Then to find my supply dosage, because this isn't in tablet form, this is in liquid form, I've got to go over here and look in the fine. And generally, when I give you these labels, they're a lot clearer to read. But it says contains 100 milligrams I got to find out where that says that. Here it is. Each milliliter contains erythromycin equivalent to 100 milligrams. That will be a lot plainer to read when we actually have to do this. So 100 milligrams per milliliter. Also in this fine print somewhere says the total volume would be 5 milliliters. And then my route is going to be what? Can you read the label well enough to see it?
IV.
Yeah, IV only. That's a bad label. Let's see if this one works any better. Okay. So this is lidocaine, HCl, which is hydrochloride, injection, USP 2%, which is 20 milligrams per milliliter. So do I have a brand name on this one? No. Lidocaine doesn't have the little R for the trademark symbol, or there's not two given names. So lidocaine, oops, our trademark or brand name is none, or you could put NA. Our generic name is the lidocaine. Our form, since it's an injection, our form is going to be what? Liquid. And then our dosage strength, since it's a 30 milliliter multi-dose vial, it's going to be 20 milligrams per milliliter. Now, we haven't talked about the 2%, okay? 2% is the same thing as 2 over 100, okay? So it's 2 grams over 100 milliliters is how that's read. So my supply dosage that should be 100 milliliters. So it should be 2 grams per 100 milliliters. Or it also gives me the 20 grams per milliliter. The total volume, it tells me that it's a 30 milliliter multi-dose. So my total volume is 30 milliliters. So my route, because it says for infiltration and nerve block, it's an injection, but it doesn't give me a specific injection. I'm just going to leave that one. I'm just going to put injection because it doesn't say IM or IV. It does say not for spinal or epidural. All right, look at this label. It's nitroglycerin extended release capsule, 6.5 milligrams. Does it have a brand name?
No.
No. So what's my generic name?
Nitroglycerin.
Nitroglycerin. And what form is it in?
Capsules.
Capsules. And what's my dosage strength?
6.5.
6.5 milligrams. And then my supply dosage? The 6.5 milligrams per capsule. Because the supply dosage is the dosage strength in the form. And then my total volume, how many capsules are in my bottle? 100. And then my route, since it's a capsule, my route is going to be oral. Am I boring y'all yet?
Nope.
Nope. Think y'all can do this? Because normally this would be your group work. All right. What about this one, the amoxicillin? Does it have a brand name?
No.
No. Does it have a generic name?
Amoxicillin.
Yeah. The for oral suspension is not part of the brand name. So what's my form? I could use liquid or I could use suspension. Okay. Because a liquid suspension or an oral suspension is thicker than just, some liquids. What's my dosage strength? It's kind of hard to read. 250 milligrams per the 5 milliliters, because there's more than 5 milliliters in the bottle. There's 150 milliliters. So I got to take that 5 milliliters. So for every 5 milliliters in the bottle, there's a 250 milligrams. And then my supply dosage is going to be the same thing. And then I already told you there's 50 milliliters, total volume's 150 milliliters. Now, what's my route on this one? Oral, because it's an oral suspension. Let's look at all right, this is Sol Midrol. So do I have a brand name for it?
Yes.
Yeah, the one I barely say. What about a generic name?
Methylprednisolone.
Methylprednisone. Got to say it fast so nobody knows you screwed it up. METHYL. I have to spell it. And it's also the sodium succinate. And it says the form. Now, if we read over here, when reconstituted as directed, so that means that this is actually in a powder. And we can put powder to liquid if you want to, or powder or liquid, because after we reconstitute it, it's going to be liquid. So either one of those. Now, what's my dosage strength?
500 milligrams.
500 milligrams. Now, this is where, since we have to reconstitute it, you have to look in the fine print. Because the 500 milligrams is how much medication is in this whole bottle. So it says, when reconstituted as directed, each 8 milliliters contains the methylprednisone sodium succinate equivalent to 500 milligrams. And then in parentheses, it says the 62.5 milligrams per milliliter. The 62.5 milligrams per milliliter is what I want to use as my supply dose. Because once I reconstitute it, I could have used the 500 milligrams per 8 milliliters, because I'm adding 8 milliliters. Take that 500 divided by 8, you're going to get 62.5. So they're equivalent. Now, what's my total volume, do you think? Once it's reconstituted, what do you think my total volume is? Got a wild guess?
500 milligrams.
Okay, that's the total volume of the total weight of the medication, but the total volume of liquid. If you look, when we reconstitute it, each 8 milliliters is equivalent to 500 grams of methyl, whatever that word is. So I've got 500 milligrams of medication. I'm going to add 8 milliliters, and that gives me the 500 milligrams. So my total volume is actually 8 milliliters. Okay. And then my route, it's intramuscular or intravenous. So I'm going to do IM or IV. Let's do another one similar to that. Let's look at ampicillin. What is do I have a brand name with this one?
No.
No. And then my generic name is the ampicillin, which I just said. What's the form on it?
Liquid.
Yeah, it's a liquid. What's my dosage strength?
Gram.
We could go with 1 gram because there's 1 gram in the vial. Now, my supply dosage, and it depends on what or how you're giving it, because it says for IM use, we add 3.5 milliliters of diluent. Resulting solution contains 250 milligrams per milliliter. So my supply dosage is 250 milligrams per milliliter. And it says to be sure and use the solution within 1 hour. That just means that it's unstable before it's reconstituted, or it's unstable once it's reconstituted. My total volume doesn't really give a total volume. We could say the 3.5 milliliters of diluent, because generally that's what it is. Unless it says, resulting in so many milliliters. And then the route, again, is the IM or IV. Okay. So questions on this? Okay. The more we do of these, the easier they'll get. Once we start calculating dosages, this will be a whole lot easier. I'll flip my screen back. Make sure you see the right screen. Okay, so we got our class meetings. I'll have this one up. Understanding the drug labels. That's the handout. That's the notes. It's not this handout. I'll put this handout up there, and I'll finish filling it out and put the answer key to it also. The homework review for chapters through 9. It's similar to what the test is going to be. You've got some conversions, some temperature conversions, some time conversions, a couple of simple, I hope simple word problem. Then list the 6 rights of medication. That's in chapter 9. It's the right patient, the right medication, the right dose, the right time. I gotta write this down. Get my ladybug going again. So it's the right patient, the right medication, the right dose, and the right route at the right time, but this is frequency. And the right documentation. Means that you're going to write it in the MAR that you gave it to them. So right patient, right medication, right dose, right route, right frequency, and right documentation. I think the book has drug instead of medication. It may be in chapter. No, it's in chapter 9. So know your 6 rights. And this is the 6 rights of medication administration. So know those. And then you're going to match the correct part of the label. So if we have, this is ceftriaxone. If I don't have a brand name, I could choose none. My generic name would be just the ceftriaxone, not the ceftriaxone for injection. My route, since it says IM or IV, I'm going to choose IM or IV. And then it says supply dosage. Well, don't get the supply dosage confused with the 2 grams. Go up here in the fine print. Each 1 milliliter solution contains approximately 350 milligrams, equivalent of the ceftriaxone. So it's 350 milligrams per milliliter. And then my dosage strength would be the 2 grams. Okay. So it's just a simple matching. There's a couple of them. And then match the correct parts of the medication order. So, the name of the medication, the dosage, the route, and the frequency. There's a couple of those. And then on the test, you'll have to upload your work like you did before. And if you, run out of time and don't get it uploaded, or you can't get it to upload all the pages, email me the pages, okay? You can always email me your work. I take it that way because I want the work as much as I want the answers. So any questions? So we're not taking class time to do the test. You can do the homework before you do the test, though. The test will open October 7th. Oh, and yeah, that reminds me. I'm having the test on the 7th because I've got to be in a workshop that morning, or a conference. I'm in college or conferences. So you'll take the test on Thursday instead of coming to class, or Wednesday instead of coming to class. Okay? Y'all are froze up on me. Okay, so are we okay with all that? Y'all froze up on me for some reason. I hope I didn't freeze up on y'all. Okay. So if you have any questions about the homework or if something happens with the test, shoot me an email and I'll see what I can do to fix it. Okay. All right. Y'all have a good week. We'll see you next Monday.
You too.